Good afternoon. I'd like to convey the Assembly Committee on Communications and Conveyance. Sergeants, please call the absent members, noting that there's an absence of a quorum. We'll start as a subcommittee. And a couple of announcements. Mr. Ting and Mr. Bennett will be appointed to the committee to fill the vacancy for today's hearing only. And in the interest we have a few different options for witness testimony today. Public testimony options include testifying from the witness room, on the phone, or via remote testimony station on the north side of the Capitol. As a reminder, we'll maintain decorum during the hearing, as is customary, and any individual who is disruptive may be removed from the chamber or remote meeting service, or have their connections muted. For the public in the room, for any member of the public who would like to testify on a bill, please raise your hand. I will ask you to approach the microphone at the appropriate time. I will ask the public not to touch the microphone. For those dial-in witnesses, we will also be using moderated telephone service through which any witness can testify on a bill. The call-in number for this hearing is 877-692-8957, and the access code is 2426237. You can also find this number on the Assembly Communications and Conveyance Committee website, as well as if you are having problems with a moderated phone service, you can call the committee at 916-319-2637. I'll repeat that, 916-319-2637, and our team will be there to help you. I also want to note that we're accepting written testimony through the position letter portal on the Assembly's website. Gibson, AB 1425.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members. Thank you for allowing me to present Assembly Bill 1425, an urge equity measure. Approximately 40% of all residential units in public subsidized housing complex are not connected to the internet. Most public housing residents, especially students, families, lack device appropriate for distance learning and telehealth. When it comes to students of color who just happen to live in public housing, are not connected to the internet, especially during this pandemic, has caused learning loss. As you know, learning loss refers to loss of knowledge, skills, or reverse in academic progress due to extended gaps in a student's education. There is substantial learning loss, especially in early grades from our 4th grades through 10th graders, in both English, learning arts, and math. Equally important, this pandemic has caused disruption in schooling for our children in California, families having disproportionate effects on low-income students and English learning students. This pandemic, through no fault of our own, has imposed an extended gap in the education of California, 6 million K-12 students. How will we respond as a legislature? We joined Superintendent of Public Instructions to improve internet access, in some cases devices, so that students could learn. The question here today is what will our response be for our students and families who just happen to live in public housing? The question is, do we have two Californians? One California who do not live in public housing, and the other Californians who do live in public housing. AB 1425 seeks to ensure that all low-income residents in public subsidized housing have access to and can use high-speed internet, broadband service sufficient to support distance learning, telehealth, and public safety to assist them in getting out of poverty. My bill, AB 1425, is a complementary to AB 14 and Senate Bill 4 by Gonzalez and Aguirre-Curry. It transferred $25 million annually to the California Advanced Service Fund Public Housing Fund and set a goal to connect all residents by 2025 or sooner, if possible. This is not general fund money. Let me underscore, this is not general fund dollars. It is currently telecom surcharge. These funds go to grants to connect residents and provide access to public housing in both, underscore, both rural and urban communities, including those who work in our farms to produce our food. Finally, AB 1425 focused on 3 essential components. 1, internet connectivity in their housing units. 2, computer devices to meet their needs. 3, digital literacy proficiency to use the technologies to save time and money. These 3 components, connectivity, device, digital literacy, are 3 goals of the California Broadband Council as part of their plan, Action for All. I am aware that other bills have some of the same components, and I applaud those efforts. I am happy to keep the line of communication open to advocates that share my goals, but understand that these 3 components must be part of this bill. But as a member of the California Broadband Council who worked hard to make the governor's executive order, Broadband for All, actionable, these 3 components are essential to this bill. Once again, connectivity, device, digital literacy. We can't have a bill without these 3 components. We cannot have a California that's connected and one California that's disconnected. I am continuing the conversation, continually reaching out, and will do so and commit myself today to sit down with the California Cable Telecommunications Association and commit to working to try to find a middle ground that we can all wrap our arms around and hopefully remove their opposition. Here with me to provide supporting testimony for 1425 is Ms. Sunny McPeak, California Emerging Technology Fund, and also Cesar Motz from the New Start Housing Corporation in support of 1425. They're with us in person. And Mr. Chair, I just want to bring the committee's attention, this is my district, and the red dots represent the public housing that's in my district, for reference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. We'll proceed to the witnesses, 2 minutes each, starting with Ms. McPeak, if you're on, and Ms. Saldivar, sorry, Mr. Motz, if you're on.
Chairman Santiago and members of the committee, I'm here. Oh. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address you. We begin by commending Assemblymember Gibson for the courage and the vision to bring forward AB 1425. You heard Assemblymember Gibson talk about 40% of the residents in publicly subsidized housing not being connected. That is from surveys that were done about a year ago before the pandemic shelter in place. At that point, we had a situation in which the majority of residents in publicly subsidized housing could not be connected continuously, their children couldn't connect for distance learning, and they couldn't access their doctors for visits. You have been a champion, Mr. Chairman, because as I hold here a list of more than 5,600 publicly subsidized housing complexes in the state of California, you have more than any other member of the Assembly. So we appreciate your sensitivity to these residents and appreciate what you have always done over the years to support them. The fact of the matter is that the publicly subsidized housing complexes are on a fixed budget. They do not have the ability, without our help, to get the connectivity, the digital literacy training, or the devices for their residents. Their residents are also the most impoverished Californians in our state, by definition. This is the time in which we have to be able to reach out in partnership with industry, with the publicly subsidized housing complexes. These are the housing authorities owned by the government and also nonprofit housing organizations, to work in partnership to get everyone connected. As we've come to understand, digital access is a 21st century civil right, and access delayed is access denied. It is time that we get all Californians, and especially our most vulnerable population, online. Thank you.
Mr. Motz?
Good afternoon. My name is Cesar Salivad-Motz. I'm the Executive Director of New Start Housing and Old-Timers Housing Development Corporation. We're a nonprofit organization serving low-income families throughout Southern California. We're here in support of AB.537 because access to the internet at our housing facility is not a luxury, it's a necessity. When the pandemic started, many of our families in our 184-unit complex in Huntington Park and 84 units in Chino were affected by the lack of access to internet service, access to computers, and access to basic digital literacy training. Based on recent surveys, 89% of our residents were not connected. 89%. Many of our kids could not access their classroom online, and their parents could not afford access to broadband. This bill, AB 1425, will ensure internet connectivity to all our residential units and provide digital literacy training for residents and assist them in getting appropriate computing devices. We cannot continue to hinder our kids and their families with lack of broadband access. It should be available to all, even those residing in subsidized housing. Our residents in subsidized housing are by definition the poorest Californians and most vulnerable in our community. Internet connectivity is essential for distance learning, telehealth, remote work, job training, and employment applications. Please, I urge you to help our residents by supporting AB 1425. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. And we have opposed unless amended. Ms. McIntyre, I believe you're on the phone.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman and members, Carolyn McIntyre on behalf of CCTA. First of all, let me state that we are very much in support of the objectives of AB 1425, and we are committed to continue to work with Assemblymember Gibson to simply work out some of the aspects of the language, but we are very much aligned with the objectives of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to any additional support and opposition witnesses, but I will state the following. What we're going to do is, it's typical custom of the House to limit when we have a next meeting under COVID. We got to terminate at some point in time so that the next meeting comes in. So we're going to limit all comments to a total of 30 minutes for public testimony. That includes, let me finish this off real quick. It includes Me Too's for or against to ensure that we have adequate time to hear all bills today. As I mentioned, there will be another committee meeting during the chamber after us. So please, for this portion of it, you'll state your name, organization, and position only. I did not have listed here an additional opposition witness. I do not have listed here an additional opposition witness. Right here. But I don't have an additional opposition witness listed here. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the Me Too's, where we're going to state your name, organization, and position only, and we'll continue. So we'll first begin in the chambers. We'd like to begin in the chamber with name, organization, and position only.
Hi, my name is Paul McGavin from Wire America. We're very supportive of good connections of broadband for everyone. We would like to be the primary opposition speaker to this bill so you could understand how to amend it and make it even better.
Thank you for your
May
testimony.
we please
Name
do
and
that?
position and organization only. Thank you. We'll be going on. If there's any additional support or opposition witnesses in the chamber, then we'll continue. Any additional support, opposition in the remote station? Then we'll go ahead and move on by phone. Moderator, and noting that we have 30 minutes for all total.
To state your support or opposition to AB 1425, you may press 1 followed by 0. Again, that's 1, then 0 on your telephone keypad. We'll start with line 254.
Good afternoon. Rebecca Gonzalez, National Association of Social Workers, California Chapter, in support.
Next is line 414.
Good afternoon. Tiffany Fan on behalf of Bridge Housing in support. Thank you.
286, your line is open.
Thomas Bradley, Nickerson Garden resident, in support of AB 1425. Thank you.
Line 413.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, Max Perry on behalf of the City of Long Beach, also in support.
Line 263. Line 263, are you on mute?
Hello, this is Catherine Wally, resident of Walnut Creek. I'm calling in support of AB 1425.
Line 412.
Hello, this is Jackson Loop on behalf of the Southern California Association of Nonprofit Housing in support of AB 1425.
Next is line 403. Line 403, is your device muted? We'll go to line 416. 416, are you on mute? We'll try 324.
Opposed to Bill 537.
Thank you.
Line 320.
My name is Denise Perigard. I'm a resident of the Jordan Down Project in Los Angeles, California, and I'm in support.
Line 319.
My name is Eduardo Gonzalez on behalf of the Office of Community and Economic Development at Fresno State and the California Partnership for the San Joaquin Valley and the San Joaquin Valley Rural Development Center and the Fresno Housing Authority in full support.
Line 258.
Reverend Max Shorty, Community Repower Movement, Watts, California, in support.
Line 411. 411, is your phone on mute? We'll move to line 401.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Emma Hernandez with the Southeast Community Development Corporation, and we are in full support.
We have line 404.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, your line. Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Saul Garcia, Urban Peace Institute, in support.
With that, there are no further lines in queue.
Thank you. Have we any questions from committee members? Seeing no questions from committee members, Mr. Gibson, you may close.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members. I simply want to say that it's very difficult to represent a community that has not been able to be connected to the internet, having access. It is very difficult when you hear residents who have no ability in terms of their children being able to even connect to educational programs, to their teachers, because housing developments that was built years and years ago are made of concrete, and therefore the internet signals cannot penetrate concrete walls. We're talking about children who will have learning loss in not only my community, but throughout the state of California. And I know there was some concerns in terms of rural communities. Well, rural communities will not be left out. I've heard the voice of my colleague who represents Shasta and Lake Tahoe, where you have to drive 10 miles in order to get a signal. And so this is the opportunity for us to making sure that everyone is in fact connected. We're not talking about, again, taking general fund money. We're talking about money in the teleconnect surcharge fund to be able to fund this program. We want to make sure that that we don't have two Californias. California that have people who live in public subsidized housing and those who do not, those who are connected and those who are not connected. We want to make sure that our children have no learning loss, especially during this time of this pandemic. And Mr. Chair, as well as members, we believe that this is a very prudent way to go. This is a sensible way to go in terms of making sure that everyone is in fact connected. And I applaud my colleagues both in the Senate and the Assembly to rally around this particular issue. But I also want to thank my community for also coming online and also stating their aye votes, whether it's Nickerson's, Jordan, Imperial Courts, Gonzaga Village. Those are the communities that I'm most proud of. Those are the communities that I'm working and standing on this floor fighting on behalf of. I respectfully ask for an aye vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Committee members, we would need a first and a second. Mr. Garcia, Ms. Cork-Silva, second.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll. Oh, and this bill does enjoy a due pass to Committee of Appropriations.
Thank you.
Motion is due pass to Committee on Appropriations. Santiago.
Aye.
Santiago, aye. Patterson. Berner Horvat. Cervantes. Davies. Davies, no. Eduardo Garcia. Eduardo Garcia, aye. Holden. Lowe. Cork-Silva. Cork-Silva, aye. Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Valadares. Valadares, no. Bennett. Ting. 3-2, measures on call.
The 3-2 measure is on call. And we'll move on to Mr. Cork, if you're available. And I want to go ahead and repeat one more time. Actually, proceed, and I'll repeat when we get to public comments. You may begin, Mr. Cork.
All right. Thank you, Chair and members. First, I want to acknowledge the points made in the analysis. We do think it is right that the jurisdiction come up with a safety plan that the installer of the equipment should follow. I know it doesn't read that way right now, but we will fix that. And there were some additional things which the lawyers are talking about now. It's not quite as straightforward as we'd like it to be, but we will, in fact, fix that wording as quickly as we can. COVID-19 has highlighted the need for broadband access and the gaps that still exist across the state in service and access. While funding is critical to fill that gap, so is the need to ensure rapid deployment of broadband permits. AB.537 modifies the state broadbanding permitting process to ensure it aligns with updated federal rules. It makes sure that local governments make decisions within federally mandated timelines that are typically 2 to 3 months, depending on the type of project. In 2015, I authored legislation that established a shot clock remedy for permits that were never acted upon by local governments within federal timelines. While this legislation has been helpful in prioritizing the processing of broadband permits, we've seen instances where disagreements occur around when the shot clock starts, what happens when the shot clock ends, AB 537 will provide clarity around the starting point for the shot clock, as well as clarity for the existing deemed approved process at the conclusion of the shot clock. These clarifications will make sure the intent of my original bill is realized and reduced ambiguity in the law. This bill will make real difference to our constituents who desperately need improved internet access for school, telehealth, remote work, and commerce. It will make sure that high-speed internet projects are delivered in months instead of years. Here to testify in support of AB 537 is Dan Schweitzer on behalf of Crown and Castle, and Pedro Nava from the Little Hoover Commission and also a former Assembly member. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cork. We'll give 2 minutes each as opposed equal to those in opposition.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Dan Schweitzer, and I'm the Director of Government Affairs for Crown Castle. Thank you, Assemblymember Quirk and Chair Santiago, for your years of commitment to expanding broadband access in California. We share your goal, and that's why we're proud to sponsor AB 537, because it will allow high-speed internet projects to be completed in months instead of years. California already has permit shot clocks in place for broadband projects thanks to Assemblymember Quirk's AB 57 from 2015. This bill updates California law to reflect the new federal timelines that were recently adopted so the shot clocks are consistent. It also provides clarity around when the shot clock starts and the process at the conclusion of the shot clock. AB 537 strikes the right balance. It preserves local control by allowing cities to use whatever process they want to evaluate broadband permits, and it will allow them to approve or deny the broadband permit. All the bill does is make sure the cities make a decision within federally mandated timelines, which are typically 2 to 3 months, depending on the type of projects. This bill will make a difference for Californians who are in need of improved internet access for school, telehealth, remote work, and commerce. It will make sure that high-speed internet projects are delivered in months instead of years. AB 537 will continue the success of Assemblymember Quirk's AB 57 while updating the law to provide more clarity and consistency. It will lead to communities getting quicker access to high-speed internet projects while maintaining local control. Thank you for your support.
Mr. Nava, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. I'm Pedro Nava, and I'm currently the chair of the Little Hoover Commission, but I'm here today in support of AB 537. The Commission is an independent, bipartisan oversight agency charged with making recommendations to the governor and legislature to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of state government. In 2015, the Commission issued a report urging California to improve and expand access to digital government services. Technology has revolutionized the way in which Californians access and receive information, and the state must innovate to provide the public with convenient digital services they have come to expect. In our report, entitled A Customer-Centric Upgrade for California Government, we found that high-speed broadband has become an integral channel for Californians to access critical services, both from the government and the private sector. It expands access to health care and education and enables small businesses to expand their market reach. It generates greater civic participation by making it easier for Californians to find information about their government, and it can streamline state processes by offering them online or through apps accessible anywhere. Yet, in its 2020 issue brief on California's digital divide, the Commission found that as many as 2.3 million Californians lack access to broadband. High-speed broadband access is needed now more than ever, yet far too many Californians are left without internet access or lack sufficient bandwidth to meet their household's needs. As the state ramps up its digital services portfolio, it will be critical to ensure that all Californians have access to affordable, reliable broadband coverage. In its report, the Commission urged state leaders to maximize options for Californians to conveniently access digital government services. AB 537 would advance the Commission's recommendation by increasing access to reliable, high-speed broadband. The bill would make sure that all local jurisdictions utilize the federal government's broadband permit. Thank you very much. Urge your support.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. In opposition, we have two, Ms. Catherine Dodd, Dr. Catherine Dodd. And we have opposed unless amended, Catherine Ryan. And we'll begin now, Mr. Moderator.
Lines are open. Witnesses, you may testify.
This is Catherine Dodd. Good afternoon, Chairman and Santiago and members. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
I'm a registered nurse representing the California Alliance of Nurses for Healthy Environments. We work at the local state level to keep Californians healthy and safe from environmental toxins and hazards. This is a very unusual legislative session with many bills moving quickly, often preventing thorough understanding of their long-term consequences. Local governments, while focusing on vaccines, opening businesses and schools, and for some, preparing for the worst fire season in history, most have been unable to focus on this legislation, which removes their authority over how to keep their residents safe from this proposed unregulated expansion of wireless towers and facilities or antennas, all covered in 537. We agree that California needs access to high-speed internet for education, business, communication, and telehealth. However, AB 537 does not provide safe, affordable, secure, high-speed internet, and it will not impact the digital divide. Currently, the permitting process for local and personal wireless telecom facilities does vary from city to city. These permitting processes, which the FCC reflects, they reflect the local residents, safety experts, elected officials, planners, who consider neighborhood aesthetics, danger from antenna density with its accompanying exposure to non-ionizing radiation, and fire danger. Telecom fires are electrical fires, and power must be cut off before extinguishing can begin. How these fires are fought is determined by local fire departments. The placement of these wireless facilities must be determined at the local level, not by telecom carriers. We must prevent fires in the first place, protect residents if fires do occur by careful zoning with setbacks to allow prevention and to escape and to prevent spread. The FCC expressly chose not to include the, quote, deemed approval in their rules. AB 537 will go well beyond the FCC. AB 537 will allow deemed approval for construction to begin even if the permitting process is not complete. Elimination of local control does not provide safety for analysis. AB 537 poses a major threat to public health and safety, and we urge a no vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dodd. And we have Ms. Ryan.
Good afternoon, Chair, members. Tracy Ryan with the Rural County Representatives of California, and also on behalf of the California State Association of Counties, Urban Counties of California, and the California Chapter of the American Standing Association, in the position of opposed unless amended to AB 537. And as you're all aware, there are segments of California, typically lower income rural areas, that lack the necessary access to everyday services because internet connectivity is inadequate or non-existent where they live. Like Assemblymember Quirk, local governments have made the expansion of broadband access a priority this year. Our organizations can agree with the stated intent of the bill to align federal shot clock requirements in California law and even allow a deemed approved remedy for those accelerated permit timelines. However, there is far more than that outlined in this bill. Specifically, AB 537 includes additional language to the deemed approved provisions that states that the wireless telecommunications facility permit is also deemed issued and construction may begin. It is unclear what this process means and the effect, and further exactly what problem this provision intends to solve. Additionally, AB 537 states the shot clock timeframe shall begin when the applicant has taken the first procedural step of the process. This language is also ambiguous and causes significant implementation concerns. We applaud Assemblymember Quirk's efforts to increase access to broadband services. However, we believe this bill needs to be narrowed to the stated intent to codify the federal timelines and provide deemed approved remedy for those cases where the local government fails to meet the applicable timeframes. We appreciate the author's engagement with our organizations up to this point, and we believe the sponsors have been working in good faith with us to find a palatable compromise. We look forward to continuing our work towards a solution that works for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to go ahead and move to additional support and opposition witnesses. And let me go ahead and repeat. We'll have telephones open and all public comments for a total of 30 minutes. For all Me Too's, which includes your name, organization, and position only, in order to ensure that we have adequate time to hear all the bills today. As noted before, there'll be a committee hearing after this in the chamber. Again, state your name, organization, and position only. And we'll begin by asking if there's any witnesses in the chambers, and we'll begin.
Good afternoon, Paul McGavin from Wire America. I have a point of order on 3 bills here today. I need an answer from the chair on AB.537, AB.1176, and AB.1425. I'm asking why we are actually cutting out the public from being able to speak when there are...
The witness is out of order and you are now disrupting the hearing. We will proceed. Are there any additional witnesses in the chamber? Now we're going, if there's any additional witnesses in support or opposition in the remote station. Any additional or support opposition witnesses on the phone. And we will begin. Name, organization, and position only.
State your position on AB.573. Please press 1 followed by 0 on your phone. That's a 1 and then 0. We'll go first to line 257. Next, we'll go to line 358, 358.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members. Roxanne Gould, representing the Wireless Infrastructure Association, in support of the bill. Thank you.
Line 432.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. Michael Gunning with the California Building Industry Association in strong support of Assemblymember Quirk's bill.
Line 434. Are you on mute? We'll go to line 385, 385.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I am very strongly opposed to AB 537.
Thank you.
We'll go to line 308, 308.
Yes, my name is John Raymond. I strongly oppose, with the 5G Free California, I strongly oppose this bill for the sake of human being health and the sake
Name,
of Mother Earth.
organization, and position only. Thank you. Next.
Line 381, 381.
Yes, this is Constance Anderson with Wired in strong opposition of AB 537. Thank you.
Next is line 437.
Matthew Hargrove with the California Business Properties Association in support of the bill.
Line 372, 372. Line 372, are you on mute? We'll go to line 433, 433.
Hello, my name is Emily Abraham from the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce, and we are in strong support of AB 537. Thank you.
Next is line 395, 395.
Hi, my name is Jay Grunke, founder and CEO of the Balanced Runner, an online education business, and I am strongly against this bill and ask for a no vote. Thank you.
Line 324, 324. We'll move to 276, 276.
Hello, yes, my name is Renette Senham, former council member and mayor of Nevada City, and I'm strongly opposed to SP 537.
Next is line 436, 436. We'll go to line 284, 284.
Yes, my name is Inbal Fershat. I call from Contra Costa County, and I strongly oppose this bill.
Thank you. Line 428, 428.
Hello?
Your line is open.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Good afternoon. Jody Nelson, Director of Californians for Safe Technology.
We strongly oppose AB 537.
Next is line 435, 435.
Hi, my name is Sula Culver, and I'm with Wireless Radiation, Education, and Defense. And I desperately oppose AB 537.
Line 438, 438.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Hi. Yes, my name is Kathleen Gildred, and on behalf of the Southern California Council on Environment and Development, we strongly oppose AB 537.
Line 302, your line is open. 302.
Hello, my name is Sydney Cox. I'm calling with Safe Tech 4 Santa Rosa, and I strongly oppose AB 537. Thank you.
Line 329, 329.
Yes. My name is Bibi Kaspari with Stop 5G California, and I strongly oppose AB 537. Thank you.
Thank you.
Line 429, 429.
Hello, this is Pamela Whitman from Grass Valley, and I strongly oppose AB 537. Thank you.
Line 417, 417. Your line is open. We'll go to 228, 228.
This is Kevin Modis. I'm the Outreach Director for the California Brain Tumor Association, and wireless is definitely not green technology. It wastes tremendous amounts of energy. Federally, they're using fiber to the
Name,
premises.
organization, and position only. Name, organization, and position only. Thank you.
241, line 241.
Kathleen Egbert, for people whose lives are being destroyed by excess
Name
wireless,
and position
including
and
mine.
organization only.
Opposed. AB 537. Opposed. Opposed. Opposed.
323, line 323. Your line is open.
My name is Mirwais Zafari from the city of Lake Elsinore, California, and I strongly oppose AB 537. Thank you.
Line 430, 430.
Hi, this is Anna Sharuda with the Bay Area Council in strong support. Thank you.
Line 346, 346.
This is Cheryl Matthews. I'm the Executive Director for California for Safe Technology. Our members from across the state of California strongly oppose AB 537. Please vote no.
Line 262, 262. Line 262, your line is open. We'll move to line 426, 426.
Yes, hello. My name is Jess Lerner in Fairfax, and I stand with the town of Fairfax, and I oppose AB 537. Please vote no. Thank you.
Line 431, 431.
Hi, this is Tom Laporta from Safe Tech of Santa Rosa, and I oppose strongly AB 537.
Line 351, 351.
Hello, my name is Vicki Sievers, EMF Safety Network. Strongly opposed. This bill removes important public input.
Line 427, 427.
Community strongly oppose.
Line 418, 418.
Hello, this is Stephanie Thomas, a co-founder of Wireless Radiation Education and Defense. We are strongly opposed to AB 537.
Line 416, 416.
How do you tell which line you're on? So
Your line is open. You're 416.
I am?
Yes, ma'am.
You're talking to me?
Yes.
Are you talking to me? Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
So it's supposed to be God. Okay. My name is Bonnie McMurray. I'm from San Anselmo, California. I am vehemently opposed to AB 537. Please vote no on it.
Line 257, 257. Line 257, are you on mute? Line 425, 425.
Patty Stottlemyre, Encinitas, California. Patty Stottlemyre, RN. I strongly oppose AB 537.
Line 377, 377.
Oh, Nancy McCoy-Blutsky with Napa Association for Safe Technology, strongly opposing AB 537.
Line 424, 424.
This is Jennifer Laporta with Safe Technology for Santa Rosa, and I strongly oppose AB 537.
Your line at 325, 325 is open. We'll move to 443, line 443.
Kim Hahn from Two Heads Tutoring Service in San Rafael, California. I stand with my city, strongly opposed to AB 537. Thank you.
Line 445, 445.
Good afternoon. This is Justin Heyer from the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, and we're proud to support the bill. Thank you.
Line 447, 447.
Good afternoon. It's Bob Williams from Wire America, Santa Rosa, California. We strongly oppose the bill because the definition of a small cell
Name,
is...
organization, and position only.
Line 444, 444.
This is Yixue from West San Jose in Santa Clara County. I represent many neighbors in our community. We strongly oppose AB 537.
Line 340, 340.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
You can?
Yes, thank you.
All right, yes. Okay, my name is Janet Fitzgerald from Marin County, affiliated with California Cancer Survivors and Mothers in Favor of Local Control to Prevent Forced Radiation. I oppose, gravely oppose.
Thank you.
Line 446, 446.
Hi, my name is Sarah Amanoff, Union City, California. Strongly opposed.
With that, there are no further lines in queue.
Thank you. Do you have any question from committee members? Pardon me for 1 second. We have a first and a second. If you could. And who was first? The first was from? Thank you. Second? Second was Mr. Garcia. Seeing no questions, any closing comments?
Thank you. Ask for your aye vote. We'll continue to work with the opposed unless amended folks and try and find language we can all agree on.
Thank you. This bill does enjoy a due pass to Committee on Appropriations. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Motion is due pass to Committee on Appropriations. Santiago?
Aye.
Santiago, aye. Patterson? Bonahova? Cervantes? Davies? Davies, aye. Eduardo Garcia? Eduardo Garcia, aye. Holden? Lowe? Cork-Silver? Cork-Silver, aye. Rodriguez? Rodriguez, aye. Valadares? Valadares, aye. Bennett? Ting? 6-0, measures on call.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cork. We'll be moving on to AB 1176. Mr. Garcia, you may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
First by Mr. Rodriguez. Just a second.
For motion. Second, I will present AB 1176, the California Connect Fund, a landmark piece of legislation.
We have a second by Mr. Garcia.
All right, that's
you may begin.
a second our own bill. Sure. We will focus on the content here. 1176 provides a unique solution to providing discounts directly to the household and allows that customer and the ability to choose what plan and what provider works best for them and their household. This is part of a number of different bills that are attempting to bring connectivity closer to those in California who have unfortunately missed out due to the lack of investment into infrastructure, access to affordability programs, and clearly during this pandemic this has been highlighted significantly. So I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. We have two support witnesses for AB 1176, and that Ms. Orduro and Ms. Nguyen. And we had one listed opposition, which is Mr. Weatherbay. I understand there's a second, and that would be Paul McGavin, both also at 2 minutes. If we can begin with the support witnesses, thank you.
Good afternoon, Linda Way with Western Center on Law and Poverty. Hopefully you can hear me. We are pleased to support AB 1176, which would increase broadband access by providing subsidies to low-income households and students for high-speed internet through the California Connect Fund. Many low-income Californians remain disproportionately disconnected from broadband, as seen from a recent survey that found over a quarter of low-income Californians are unconnected or underconnected, meaning they depend on their smartphone for internet. Even before the pandemic, low-income households often had to make trade-offs. This past year, many workers lost their jobs, forcing them to forego services to save money, including disconnecting their internet service or paying for bare-bones service plans without sufficient streaming capacity. Californians in rural areas are particularly hit hard, as internet access can be significantly more expensive for outdated technology. At a time when the pandemic has moved schools, jobs, and even healthcare online, this bill is especially timely. This bill is a critical step toward expanding broadband access and providing vital pathways to connect Californians to necessary healthcare as well as other vital services. We have some recommendations to streamline the low-income qualification language and look forward to continued conversations to strengthen the bill. We urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Ms. Way. Moderator, if you could help us find Ms. Way.
That was Ms. Way. This is Serena Orduro that we're looking for.
I apologize.
Orduro, is your line? Yep, you may begin.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Santiago and committee members. My name is Serena Orduro, and on behalf of the Greenlighting Institute, I am grateful to convey our support for AB 1176. The Greenlighting Institute is a policy, research, organizing, and leadership institute working for racial and economic equity. Nearly 22% of Californians are unconnected or underconnected to the internet, usually because internet access simply costs too much for too many families. This affordability barrier affects low-income families and communities of color the most. When Greenlighting interviewed young students of color for our report on the harms of the digital divide, we heard stories about students' experiences and success being harmed by their inability to access affordable and adequate broadband. A 16-year-old's family went into debt due to broadband costs and had their internet disconnected twice for non-payment. Her family borrowed money from friends and family to pay the bill because of how essential broadband service was for her education and her siblings' education. No family should have to go into debt to try to access services like broadband connection that dictate the ability to succeed at school and work. Through AB 1176, the California Connect Fund can help close California's digital divide by providing funding for students to acquire broadband connection. It will enable entire families to access the internet and economic opportunity, improve educational outcomes, and provide a way to close the racial wealth gap. Fourth graders with home internet score 15 to 17% higher on standardized math, science, and reading tests than those that lack access. That gap only grows as students get older. In addition, having to attend school from home during the COVID-19 pandemic has only amplified the harm of the digital divide to student success. Ensuring that these students can get an education with the tools they need is essential towards building an equitable future. AB 1176 helped close the digital divide through establishing the California Connect Fund. For these reasons, the Green Lining Institute asks that you join us in supporting AB 1176.
Opposition testimony, we're calling Mr. Weatherbay.
Good afternoon, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chair and members. Dustin Weatherby with the California Taxpayers Association. So thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak to you today. The California Taxpayers Association respectfully opposes AB 1176 because the bill would impose an additional tax up to 23 cents a month to fund a new California Connect program administered by the PUC to provide every eligible low-income and student household in the state a subsidy to pay for any charge related to affordable broadband service and devices. Make no mistake, AB 1176 is a significant tax increase. Californians already pay significant taxes on their phone service, and AB 1176 makes phone service even more expensive by adding a seventh tax to a taxpayer's phone bill. By choosing to use a phone bill to act as a tax collection service for new government programs and services, California is choosing to make the cost of a phone less affordable. On average, a typical wireless customer in the state paid more than 23% of their total phone bill in fees, taxes, and surcharges to federal, state, and local governments in 2020. We also question whether additional revenue is necessary at this time. Now that California will receive funds from the American Rescue Plan Act, which includes funds that are earmarked for broadband infrastructure projects and subsidy programs, we are concerned that a tax increase would result in taxpayers paying for similar programs twice. The Emergency Broadband Benefit Program administered by the FCC starting this month provides a subsidy of $50 per month to eligible low-income households to pay for broadband service. In addition to the significant funding provided by the federal government, the state is projected to have a record $22 billion reserve, which is why the governor and administration officials have stated that additional taxes are unnecessary in the current environment. Given these reasons, Caltax must respectfully oppose AB 1176. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We have one more witness, 2 minutes in opposition, please. Yes, the sergeants will direct you. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Paul McGavin from Wire America, and I want to have 2 minutes of truth here to tell you why we need to play this chess game a little more differently. You're talking about the California Advanced Services Fund, and you're saying $330 million is a big deal. I'm going to point you to a much bigger number. That's $16 billion, and that is the money that was actually illegally transferred from your state telecommunications public utilities to their wireless subsidiaries in order to build the 4G network. If you want some real money to really close the digital divide, that's where it is. It's on the bottom lines of these companies that have engineered the digital divide very craftily over the years to make sure we were in this desperate position so they could actually put more wireless in place. You understand that Title II is what you need here. It's your public utility that must provide services at just and reasonable rates. They are the solution here. They need to put fiber optic directly to every home and business and charge a just and reasonable rate. And why is that? Because we paid $5 to $7 per month per phone bill since the 1990s in order to get it done, and that was misappropriated against the Telecommunications Act, Section 254K, that says nothing like that should ever happen. It should never be taken away from a utility and put to a private company, yet it did. Fortunately, the regulators sued against this in federal court. And you can now correct all of this mishmash and shenanigan that's been going on for 20 years, and you can get $16 billion back to really close the digital divide. So I'm going to ask you to look a little bit broader and a little bit further than the talking points given to you by the lawyers and lobbyists by Crown Castle, who is not a CLEC or an ILEC and has no role in this matter. At the end of the day, you have to look at your state public telecommunications utilities, look no further than AT&T California, and preserve the money back to them. They can fix this problem. And we thank you very much for the time.
Thank you very much appreciate your input. We have a first and a second. I believe. I'm sorry. And if there's any questions from committee members. Mr. Garcia, would you like to close?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I want to acknowledge the work of your committee team and yourself. We've worked on this policy from the beginning of the legislative year, wanting to make sure that we can bring affordable programs closer to Californians who most need to access broadband. And we know that all Californians deserve the right to have good quality and affordable high-speed internet to achieve their goals and objectives. So respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Motion is due pass to Committee on Appropriations. Santiago.
Aye.
Santiago, aye. Patterson. Bernard Horvath. Bernard Horvath not voting. Cervantes. Cervantes, aye. Davies. Davies, no. Eduardo Garcia.
Aye.
Eduardo Garcia, aye. Holden. Holden, aye. Lowe. Lowe, aye. Cook-Silver. Cook-Silver not voting. Rodriguez. Rodriguez, aye. Valadares. Valadares, no. Bennett. Bennett, aye. Ting. 7-2, measures out.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to the consent calendar. We need a first and a second. We have a first and a second. And a third. And I've been advised for this consent calendar to take public testimony, and I will allow one person for 2 minutes in their opposition to this item. Mr. Paul McGavin, I believe you are providing public testimony.
Thank you very much. Paul McGavin, Wire America, and I, on behalf of our organization of thousands, plus almost 4 million electromagnetic sensitive Californians all across the state. And you have to understand that we have a big stake in all of these wireless bills, because if you put too much signal next to our homes, you will force us to move because it tortures us. And this is reality. We are out finally at the breaking point here. There's too much electromagnetic power through the air for human beings to withstand. And the good thing that we can do is take a look at what is enough to get the job done. So in all of these bills, if you could have, please, real technology neutrality and say, anytime you put fiber in the public rights of way, give people access to it so it can go directly to their homes with no wireless at all. That gives consumer choice, and it is the best internet there is. I know, I have it. 1 gigabit down, 1 gigabit up, telephone line, $50 a month. That's without Title II. You do it through AT&T California, you can get those bills down to $30 a month and have those kinds of speeds. You just have to finish the job. It actually was all designed to do this, and it was going to be finished by 2007, but the whole agenda changed. If you go back to the original plans, the original broadband plans, that's what needed to be done. Wireless is just a cheap alternative. You have to understand, every wireless network is 99% wired anyway. They're just stopping short the last 2% or 1% to spray it at you to make more money to stay unregulated. If you take it all the way by wire, you're regulated, Title II pricing, everybody can't afford it. The wires company knows this. That's why they're playing the chess game the way they are. I'm asking everybody, just look at the real solutions here. The dollars are here, the will is here. You just have to walk away from the wireless agenda and say, cell towers belong far away, not close to people. Thank you.
Those 2 minutes are up, so thank you very much for your time and input. We appreciate it. We have a first and a second on the consent calendar. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Consent calendar 955 and AB 1423. Due pass to Committee on Appropriation, recommend consent. Santiago.
Aye.
Santiago, aye. Patterson. Bernard Horvath. Bernard Horvath, aye. Cervantes. Cervantes, aye. Davies. Davies, aye. Eduardo Garcia. Eduardo Garcia, aye. Holden. Holden, aye. Lowe. Lowe, aye. Cook-Silver. Cook-Silver, aye. Rodriguez. Rodriguez, aye. Valadares. Valadares, aye. Bennett. Bennett, aye. Ting. Eleven to 0, measures on consent.
Thank you.
Add-ons, item number 1, AB 988. Ting. Ting, aye. Final vote, 10-0. Item number 2, AB 1425, Gibson. Ting. Ting, aye. Final vote, 10-3. Item number 3, AB 537, Cork. Ting. Ting, aye. Final vote, 13-0. Item number 4, AB 955 and AB 1483, consent calendar. Ting. Ting, aye. Final vote, 13-0. Item number 5, AB 1176, Eduardo Garcia. Ting. Ting, aye. Final vote, 8-3.
Committee's adjourned.